Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and early 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I'm going to make another video where I talk about what's going on with my health. I had a relapse yesterday. Health-wise, food, my stomach yesterday, not good. And I'll talk more about that in another video. I woke up early this morning, 2 a.m. I was feeling good. I wanted to get out here and talk to you guys first thing before I started doing anything else today while I still had to, because I don't know the stomach thing, how it's going to go. All right, let's get right into it. I came across about 4 different stories. Now, look, I know it's not just the right wing that has a tendency to embellish or exaggerate or use scare tactics. I think all people do this in some way or another. But I'm going to have about 4 stories down below from right-wing politicians and from Tucker Carlson. And these are just insane. These are all just in the last few days. Stories about from these politicians, Tucker Carlson. I'll have the links, everything down below. Actual video of them saying what I'm telling you. And this is just insanity, man. And this is another one of the things that it embarrasses me. These people that are still this Trumpian Republican thing, where I just wonder what the rest of the world thinks, America is now. All right, let's just get right into it. Tucker Carlson, he's going to have a special coming up, and I know there's a big hubbub about that. But he's talking about a Patriot Purge. Yes, they are coming for you. Now the wokists, are coming to purge you, to push you into Guantanamo Bay. Seriously, this is what he's telling people. And there's millions of people watching this, including people in my family, and they're believing it. This is another interesting thing. He's saying those helicopters in Afghanistan, they're coming back, and now they're being used to circle and gather patriots and lock them up. Yes. Well, wait a minute. Wasn't just like a week or two ago, wasn't he just saying like that we left every piece of equipment there for that group in Afghanistan? Wasn't that the big story? That we armed the entire group there in Afghanistan. Some of the funniest pictures I saw were this group in Afghanistan, the guys, the mullahs and all that, and I hate to say this, but it looked like a bunch of sheep herders, right? And they're standing in front of these broken, busted up helicopters. And they're looking all angry, because how dare the Americans bust up these helicopters? These guys don't even look like they would know where the door is to a helicopter to begin with, let alone fly one. But there was all these stories about a month ago or two months ago about that group in Afghanistan that were all angry because, how dare the Americans leave stuff they couldn't use? I thought that was just hilarious. I thought that was a good kick in the butt from the Biden administration, for pulling out and giving a big FU to the group there in Afghanistan. But anyway, so now Tucker Carlson's saying that those helicopters are coming back and they're being used to round up patriots. Yes, you guys, you Trump-loving, make America great again, flag-loving patriots. You're being rounded up and locked up just because it's the end of freedom. It's a radical leftist. Yeah, the link's down below. All right, while I'm talking about this, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she made a comment that would have ended anybody else up in a lockup. And this what she said is what the Homeland Defense it was created for. The Homeland Security Administration was created for. Marjorie Taylor Greene's actually I got to be so careful with this comment. She talks about an actual chemical compound used by the Army to get rid of things, right? And she's saying this substance, hey, I'll bring it, and we could do this to the metal detectors in Congress. She thinks this is funny, after what happened back in January. Now she's making comments about quickly destroying parts of Congress, the building. And she thinks this is humorous. And Matt Gaetz joins in, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. They say, hey, if we can't just joke around on Halloween, supposedly, now they try to spin it so that it's a Halloween prank, that they're just, that's like saying something about what happened back in the Twin Towers. That's like saying, trying to be funny about that and just saying, oh, it's Halloween, I can joke about that. Like coming as somebody as one of the fatalities from that day. Not funny, man. No, never funny. It's never gonna be funny. So anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene makes up, this person's a politician, man. This is the Republican Party. It's just unbelievable. Let's move to the next one. The fossil. Chuck Grassley. Chuck Grassley, 88 years old. I think he's from Texas. I'm not sure. So he thinks he's going to own the Biden administration. He comes out with this comment. Apparently, this is a true story. I'll have the links down below. 10,000 pounds of fentanyl were confiscated at the border coming into the United States last year. 10,000 pounds. Now, I got clean and sober 15 years ago, and fentanyl was just making an appearance. And this stuff is dangerous, man. Dangerous isn't even... it's just, it makes the stuff that I was using look like candy. It is just incredibly, I can't even put into words how strong and lethal this stuff is. So 10,000 pounds of it were confiscated by our Customs and Border Patrol, right? The Biden administration. So Chuck Grassley, 88-year-old Chuck Grassley, who probably should be in the sunroom, eating his custard in the sunroom. There was a comment on Twitter. That was somebody else's comment. So he thinks he's somehow owning the Biden administration by saying, well, welcome to Biden's America, where 10,000 pounds of fentanyl are confiscated at the U.S. border. Here we are. So is he pro? Would it have been better if it came into the country? It's confiscated at the border. In other words, the Customs Administration are doing their job, not breaking up families, not using their lassos or leather straps on people trying for a better life, but they're actually confiscating things that are hurting Americans. And somehow, in his 88-year-old mind, and they complain about Joe Biden. He thinks that he's owning the Biden administration. So he caught a lot of flack on that. 80 years old, man. And this comment, these are the people. These are the Trump followers that are our leaders, our politicians. All right, the next one. This one kind of ticked me off. Josh Hawley. He's at some conservative function. I think it was down in Florida. These are all just this last weekend, these comments and everything. And he says that because of the leftists and the wokeists and all that it's taken away the masculinity from young men. And now all they do is play video games and watch adult stuff on their phones. They're addicted to video games and that. And it's all because, then he goes on, I don't have the exact, the whole video will be down below of him actually saying this. And he says he was just heartbroken when he talked to one young man, and the young man said, something like, what's the point? And somehow in Josh Hawley's mind, this came across as these guys are all they're afraid to be men. So they're now, isn't the Republican Party, isn't that about personal responsibility, right? So now the reason that these guys are all sitting in their mother's basement in their 20s, watching this stuff on their phone, playing video games, it's not because of their own choices or their own lack of choices. No, it's because people like me, the leftists, because we're taking away their masculinity and we're femming them up. Oh, man. I want to talk more about this, but I see I'm running along on time now too. There was a couple other videos. I'm going to throw them in down below. There's two people that are talking in front of school boards. They just come up with crazy stuff talking about masks. One lady comparing masks to Satan worship and all this other stuff. And then this other man, even worse, where he's talking about the LGBTQ community. And he just goes off on this graphic representation of what he pictures these relationships are about in the bedroom, as if it's any of his business. And it is just appalling. And these are your right-wing stories, for your right wingnut stories for the day. I will be back later. I promise you guys more videos, and I'm going to talk more about this stuff that I just talked about. You guys have a great Tuesday.